If your child lives for mountain biking and is constantly pushing their limits on two wheels, we've found the summer experience that truly checks every box. Woodward, Pennsylvania's Mountain Bike Summer Camp is redefining what an action sports camp can be, blending epic outdoor adventure, professional level coaching, and a whole lot of fresh air. Kids are developing real skills, learning progression and safety, and building confidence on world-class terrain with coaches who are deeply invested in helping them grow. Woodward's 5 to 7 day camps are designed for riders of all ages and abilities. And because it's Woodward, the experiences go beyond biking. Think community, mentorship, and that special kind of independence kids gain when they're challenged in the best way. SKIMOMS can save $150 off Woodward summer camps by using code SKIMOMS at checkout. Just head to woodwardpa.com/summer-camps/mountain-bike to learn more. That's code SKIMOMS for $150 off and an unforgettable summer on two wheels.
Welcome back to the Ski Moms podcast. It's season 5 and we're hitting the slopes. We're sharing real, unfiltered stories of motherhood on the snow. From conquering the bunny hill with toddlers to squeezing in your own powder days, this season celebrates every type of ski mom. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great season lined up, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Ski Moms, it's Nicole, and today we are taking winter into our own hands. Many of you had disappointing spring breaks or winter seasons because the snowfall wasn't what you expected in Colorado, in Utah, some of our very traditional spots. And we want to let you know that you can recover from this disappointing season. We think there's big snowy things ahead for these regions in North America, but we want to talk about skiing in South America. If you've ever hit March and thought, wait, I'm not done skiing yet, well, this episode is for you. Because guess what? Winter isn't over. You just have to chase it. This week, we're heading to Portillo, Chile, one of the most iconic ski destinations in the world. It's tucked high into the Andes, just outside Santiago. Think wide open runs, zero lift lines, and that unreal moment where you're skiing above a turquoise lake surrounded by jagged peaks. It's a place where you truly unplug and just ski. It's an all-inclusive resort where you're going to experience fine dining, entertainment, amazing ski school, and you're really going to have an exceptional experience. And here's the best part. It happens during our summer. I've been there, I've skied it, and I can tell you, it's not just a trip, it's an experience. It's family friendly. It's also surprisingly doable if you're craving one more winter adventure before next ski season. We did this interview last year with Maureen Poshman, and it convinced me to plan my trip to Portillo. Now I've been there, and I can tell you it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's why I want to revisit all of the details she shared and empower you to start your trip planning. So whether you're dreaming about your first international ski trip or ready to level up your ski mom status, this episode will inspire you to pack your bags and say yes to skiing in July. And we're going to follow it up next week with a follow-up with one of the current owners of Portillo. And we know you're going to love hearing that one. But this is going to give you all of the details you need to trip plan and start dreaming of that summer ski trip. Listen, enjoy, and we cannot wait to hear your feedback. And today we're welcoming Maureen Poshman. She founded Promo Communications in 1999, and she specializes in luxury travel and the hospitality industry. She's got an in-depth knowledge of Aspen because that's her home mountain and that's where she skis. But we're also going to be talking to her about her international destinations that she covers and promotes, specifically in Chile, because Sarah and I want to go ski in South America. We're so intrigued, and we're so excited to have you here. Welcome, Maureen.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, we're going to start. We're not going to jump right into South American skiing. So we're going to talk a little bit about your backstory first. Where and when did you learn to ski?
Well, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I learned to ski in Beach Mountain, North Carolina, a very, very big mountain when I was in high school. And then I got the bug right away. So I just then when I was in college, I skied a little bit, came to Aspen once because I have an uncle who lives here, and I just always then had in my head, I'm going to move to Aspen, and I did.
And tell us a little bit about the path you took to Aspen. And it sounds like maybe you didn't expect to live there forever.
Right. I had left a job because I was trying to switch careers. I was in international banking and I wanted to switch into a non-banking line of work, which I found was hard because people kind of peg you when you're in a city. And so I came to Aspen for a 2-week vacation. My uncle generously said I could stay with them, and I had friends who were in Aspen at that time. And the day I arrived, my cousin said, "Oh, you have to stay for the summer." And I said, "It's February. What are you talking about?" But lo and behold, I went back for some interviews, and the second I landed in Washington D.C. where I was living, I thought, "I'm going back for the summer." Or I sublet my place, and then I eventually gave up my house in Washington D.C., but I effectively never left after that 2-week vacation, which is not an unusual story.
We'll kind of loop back around to family life, but we do want to jump into Portillo. Let's start first with what is it, where is it, and paint a picture for us. Tell us a
Okay.
story.
Right, right. So basically, Chile and Argentina are the opposite winters from North America. So it's skiing in our summer, and Ski Portillo is the oldest ski resort in South America. It is celebrating its 75th anniversary, and it is basically about 2 hours northeast of Santiago. And it is a amazing, it's kind of like a Shangri-La situation where it's a beautiful yellow hotel located on a lake surrounded by 15,000-foot peaks. So it's a stunning location. And, you fly there overnight, and there are, flights from, normal from Miami, LA, Atlanta, typically from Houston and Dallas. But there's been a situation with the airlines this year with Europe and the Olympics, so we don't have the nonstops this year from Dallas and Houston. But it's an overnight flight, so it's quite easy to get there. It generally takes about 14 hours door to door, even for me in Aspen. They pick you up at the airport. 2 hours later, you're in this gorgeous hotel and set for a week of skiing.
Is the hotel one that has is like board included? Because I know like when we've gone to some in Europe, everything you have all your meals there. Is that what it's
Yes.
like in Chile?
Yeah, so the model for Portillo has always been a ski week. That's an all-inclusive ski week that includes your hotel accommodations, your lift ticket, and your meals. And there they always have 4 meals a day because dinner's quite late. So you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But you also have an afternoon tea where they always have these delectable treats for you. And so tea is at 5 o'clock to tide people over to dinner, which is either at 8 or 9:30, depending on your seating. And it's very old school, and everything is sort of based in the hotel, and the guests all stay there together. But you only have 450 guests at a time in the resort. And so it really is incredible access to these amazing slopes without lines.
I'm sold. I'm planning a trip next summer. I'm ready. I'm ready to
Okay.
go. It does sound like a great teenager's trip to head down there.
It's really great for almost any age. I think I took my kids the first time when they were 3, maybe 3, 5. We used to go every other year with the kids, and I would go the other years just on my own. But definitely with teenagers and skiing teenagers, it is heaven. And it's great if you do have ski racers or you just have a family that's a ski family and you love to ski together. I mean, they obviously do have skiing for beginners, and it's an easy place to learn. All of the instructors are bilingual, so it's not as if there's a language gap. And there's skiing for all levels. So, if your kids are expert skiers and you're an intermediate skier, no problem. There's something for all of you, and you can meet on the mountain for lunch. You can ski together a little bit, and then the kids, or, if you're the expert skier and your kids are intermediate, you can kind of explore the mountain together and separately and then come together. For teenagers, I know a lot of people, there's a bar where you can go and either not drink if you're underage. It's drinking age there is 18, and there are bands every night. And so there's dancing, and there's a lot of, I don't know, it's very convivial. There's just a lot of like getting together, hanging out in the hot tub in the pool after skiing. There's a lot, it's about talking and hanging out. There are no TVs in the rooms. People just tend to really congregate, and everybody there is loving skiing, and so you have that in common. But for little kids, it's really easy. And the nice thing is, there's a huge game room with everything from a climbing wall to, ping pong pool, and there's a huge gym, and in the evenings there tends to be soccer games. And so one time, I think my kids were maybe 8 or 9, and she was playing soccer, and she ended up, like, playing in a soccer game and it was like, I was really good, with all these, other kids from all over the world. So, yeah, it's an unusual place. It's almost like there's no place else like this in the world.
It sounds absolutely incredible. And
Planning your next mountain holiday? Skip the crowded platforms and check out Ski Mom Family Rentals, a trusted space to find family-friendly homes in ski towns across North America. And if you're a homeowner, it's a smart way to get your property in front of like-minded ski families without the big fees. Whether you're booking your next getaway or want more visibility and bookings for your home, visit SKIMOMFamilyRentals.com and make your mountain time matter.
we've only seen the photos, but what I always see in these photos and videos is just perfect bluebird skies. So what I'm wondering is, when we pack to go out skiing in Vermont, like, we have to have layers. It could turn into a wintry mix, or the dreaded wintry mix, freezing cold, wet. What kind of gear and what kind of weather would we expect to be prepared to ski here?
I mean, like any ski resort, it depends on the month, the week, but, there does tend to be really sunny days. They tend to have like a big storm, and then kind of sunny days following it. But like any place, I would say you would have layers. But, I think some of those bluebird days are in August, which tends to be maybe parallel, like mid-February to mid-March in the Northern Hemisphere. And it can be really nice, beautiful, maybe our equivalent of like 40 degrees during the day. Be colder at night. You definitely need to pack sunglasses and a baseball hat for lunch at Tio Bob's, which is our on my mountain lunch spot, or at the ski box at the bottom of the race course. Because the sun is intense and bright, very bright.
I know. Are there trails there if you want to Nordic ski or snowshoe? If you
Mhm.
want to do something from the base, are there other ways to explore?
There definitely are. We have, Portillo, does rent snowshoes. We do not have Nordic skiing. You're pretty much at a small base area with only the hotel and a couple of outbuildings, and then you have the mountains going up from either side, and the large lake. The lake generally freezes, but it not all the time, but you can sometimes snowshoe across the lake, which I've done a few times. And then there are also snowshoe trails that you can go up. And obviously with uphilling becoming so popular, a lot of people will bring their uphill gear and do that, skin up the mountain in the morning. So there are trails for that as well.
And is there a spa in case we want to get a little pampering there? Is there something for a ski mom to, give herself a little treat?
There is definitely a spa with great massages. It's really all about massage there. And there is always afternoon yoga. We generally have guest yoga instructors who come in. There'll be stretching in the morning, yoga in the afternoon, spa massage treatments. I always say book your massage right away because they tend to be very popular. They're extremely well priced, for somebody who's used to going to a resort in North America. Some people will get them every day because it's like, that's such a reasonable treat for me. And then there's also an incredible fitness center. And a lot of times you'll be training along, in late August and September, or maybe mid to late August, September. There are a lot of the Olympic and World Cup ski athletes there training. So somebody was talking about how they went in for a stretching class and they looked around and they were the only woman and it was the whole Norwegian ski team that she ended up doing her stretching with.
When was that?
Yeah.
When exactly? No, kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So,
You have our attention. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And there are also a lot of free skiing, the people that you see in Warren Miller films and everything are there all the time. So I remember walking through the lobby with one of them, with Marcus Caston, and this kid just walked up and was like, "Marcus," like that was his hero. So it's really fun.
And if we were thinking about planning for, say, next summer,
Mhm.
or I don't know, I guess the question is, would we be too late for this summer for families that, well, I guess if we're looking out into next summer, are there times that are like peak times, like kind of in the US where we'd say, avoid kind of Christmas to New Year's, or if there's some time in like February and March where there's a lot of school breaks to
Mhm.
avoid? And then, how far in advance should we be thinking about this?
Right. Well, let's talk about this season just because it's approaching. There are definitely weeks that have gotten booked up. I feel like there's some pent up demand because obviously during the pandemic, Portillo was closed, so some people didn't get to go, and then last season was busy. This season is getting really busy. We also had the benefit of opening almost a month early with about 6 feet of snow. And right now, we're in a storm that is expected to dump more than 100 inches in, I think, all of Chile and Argentina. So it's looking like an incredible season. So, typically you might not want to go skiing in before Christmas in North America because you're not sure how the snow is going to be. In Portillo, if you're saying like, God, what are we going to do in June? Or for July 4th week or the rest of July, Portillo does have availability in those months, in those weeks. So, we generally sell the ski week, Saturday to Saturday. So we do have availability. And I think because our snow is so good already, it's going to bode extremely well for the season. And so there are a couple of weeks that are full, but you can always reach out. We tend to take a wait list for people who have small kids. We do have weeks in August and September where one kid skis and stays free. So that's a great option as well if you're not worried about school times. So a lot of schools in the Northeast, for example, start after Labor Day, and the week right before Labor Day is a kid ski free week. So that can be a nice last minute vacation.
And when does the ski season end is my first question. And second, kind of walk us through childcare if you've got small kids, what that looks like. Is
Right.
there babysitting? When did the lessons start? That sort of thing.
The season stops, I think, September 30th this year. We do have childcare, and there is free childcare for certain ages, and they, can start skiing at 3 years old generally, and they have a magic carpet like you tend to have, and it tends to be very hands on. And there are a lot of kids' activities in the afternoon as well. There'll be like bread making, and they go in and they make bread, and other kind of unusual activities. There's tubing, and so it's really easy for kids. The other thing is around age 6, the kids kind of have the run of the hotel. Like they'll be like, "Oh, mom, dad, I'm going to go to the game room," and you're fine because you're sort of in this contained situation, which as a mom, I feel like you treasure. And, or like a bigger kid will be like, "Oh, I'll take them with me. We're gonna go to the game room. We're gonna go to the cine and watch a movie." So they'll have a kids movie every night and then a grown-up movie. So it's very kind of copacetic ski vacation. I think it is completely they've taken all the hassle out of the ski vacation because also you're in your room, you go to the dining room on the second floor for breakfast, take the elevator down 2 floors, your boots are in the boot room, your skis are in the ski room, you walk out the door, you're on the slopes. You're not doing that whole, like, carrying getting from the hotel to the mountain and all of that. It's just all right there.
And no shuttles to deal with where you're like almost crying by the time you get to the mountain or
Right.
someone's almost crying. I'm
Exactly.
I love that it's like I love this idea of this ski week because a lot of times when I think about planning a ski vacation, it gets a little overwhelming because you not only have to pick the mountain and the hotel and figure out meals, that it's just all one piece. But the one thing we didn't talk about that I think would be helpful to understand is what the rental situation is like for rental equipment, because
Right,
it
right,
can be a lot to carry for a whole family internationally. And sometimes, like that to me is like the last missing piece in this, where I really don't need much more than my ski clothes and
right.
a few basics.
Yeah, we do have a great ski shop that has, very good brands of skis, and they tune them, and they're extremely well trained. I kind of alternate between bringing my skis just because it's kind of like my toothbrush, living in a ski resort. But I sometimes will just tell people, bring your boots. You're fine on skis. And you might want to bring, it depends on the day. So you don't want to bring 3 pairs of skis because one day it's a complete groomer and then there's, a foot and a half of snow. You can get fat skis for those days. You can get skis for the kids. And, you might want to, for the kids, like, day 2, it might be that they're going to move up to a longer ski. And so I would definitely say for kids, you don't need to bring them. For if you have a ski racing kid, you might want to bring them because they have their racing skis. They might want to get in some laps on the course that's used for the World Cup racers. So it depends, but definitely for the younger kids, I would not bring your skis. And most people, I would say just bring your boots.
And then what about going to dinner? Is it pretty casual, or people just sort of in leggings and a nice sweater?
It traditionally was dressy. And as people have gotten more casual, it's not leggings. It's maybe a level above, like nice jeans, collared shirt for men is requested, but it's not like you have to dress up. And it's also different from being in a ski resort in that you don't have to like have big sweaters and things. You have your ski clothes, and then you really have quite light nighttime wear. I'll just wear like a silk camisole and jeans, and you don't need snow boots and all of that that you tend to need in a ski resort. So it's more like dress like you're just going from your hotel room to the restaurant without having to go outside.
And does the food, is it all from local sources? Are we going to see, is it more Americanized?
Hmm.
What should we expect from the menu? Suppose we have like picky eaters. Is there going to be something
Yeah.
for them? And then maybe the parents are more adventurous and they want to taste the food of Chile.
Definitely has a Chilean/international focus, but with a lot of Chilean flavors. Chile, it's such a breadbasket of fruit, vegetables, as well as incredible seafood with their long coast. So the way that the dining works is every lunch and every dinner, there are 3 starters and 3 main courses. And one will be meat or poultry, one will be fish, and one will be vegetarian. The owner of the resort is a vegetarian, and so we tend to have incredible vegetarian food, and a large number of people, somewhere between 30 and 50% end up eating the vegetarian dishes because they're so amazing. But you can really explore the menu, but there is always the option of, I just want pasta. Like there's a whole list of things that you can order if you don't want one of the specialties. So you can have a hamburger every night, you can have pasta, you can have a steak, that sort of thing. So it's pretty flexible. But for the person who wants to explore Chilean cuisine and Chilean wines, you have that ability to sort of delve into having great seafood that, you maybe have never even eaten before.
And are we tipping as throughout our stay, or once you've
Mhm.
paid, or is it not a tipping culture?
People tend to tip at the end of the stay, and you can tip your waiters. So the waiters are very kind of old school, red jacketed, and you tend to have the same waiter every night, and assistant waiter. And so people tend to tip at the end of the week, and we do give suggestions of like a range that you could tip the boot guy, the ski guy, your instructor. But I do think the tips are lower than what you would see in the US. It's sort of a 10% culture as opposed to what has become a 20% culture, tipping culture.
What would be the best website, or is it a phone call to actually
Yep.
book this?
It is just skiportillo.com or reservations at skiportillo.com. And we have an 800 number, which is 1-800-829-5325. There are reservationists that speak English. You can just book online if you go to skiportillo.com, there's a book now. And because you're sort of buying like one ski week, it's fairly easy, but, certainly I know a lot of people want to talk through somebody. I was going to say on the accommodations, one thing that we do have are these family apartments, which is great if you're a family with two kids. It'll be two connecting rooms, one that has two sets of bunk beds and then a queen bed in the other room. And those come with either one bathroom or two bathroom. And that can be a great option for families, but so you'll see all the options on the website of these are the different room categories. Here's the price. For example, if you have a lake view, that's a premium, but the mountain view, the other side, is one of the most gorgeous views you'll see. So it's kind of depends what you're looking for. So if you can't get the lake view, those do tend to go most quickly. The other view is beautiful.
And can you give us a ballpark for 1 week? Let's say it's September, near the end of the season, where kids are going to ski free and stay free. But so for the two adults, what would you be looking at price-wise for that?
At that time of year, it would be about $4,000 for a ski week. Again, all inclusive accommodations, hotel.
And that's per person?
Per person, yeah, based on double occupancy.
I mean, I think compared to your high-end American resorts, that is relatively a steal because you're talking about the food, the lift tickets are built into that. That's a pretty serious good rate. And that would include lessons, or lessons are additional? I'm sorry.
Lessons are additional, but I do think that the ski school is significantly less expensive than what you would find at a comparable U.S. resort.
We were out at Breckenridge last winter, and I think it was $270 a day per kid.
Wow.
I know. It made our eyes water a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you really have to think about that third kid if you want to raise skiers.
So true. So true.
Everyone on this Zoom stopped at 2.
Yeah. But it is pretty reasonable. And again, with having the food all included, and even I think drinks and wine and everything is just a little bit less expensive than what you would find.
Nicole again, I hope you enjoyed this revisit to this podcast episode. I think Maureen painted a really accurate picture of what it's like. And as somebody who experienced it firsthand, I can tell you the pisco sours on the sun deck are magical, but so are those little family moments, having tea with your kids, listening to live music, the award ceremony at the end of the week. It's all of those little moments where you can slow down and really savor that family time. The snow is magnificent. The scenery is just beyond. But really what makes it special are the people there. I think if you can carve out a Portillo experience, you absolutely won't regret it. Hey, Ski Moms, we hope you enjoyed today's episode and got some great tips for your next family ski adventure. If you had as much fun listening as we did making this episode, we'd love for you to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our latest episodes. And don't forget to rate and review us. Your feedback helps us bring you more of the content you love and helps other ski moms find our podcast. Plus, we love hearing from you. So whether you're on the slopes or just dreaming of your next snowy getaway, stay connected with us. Follow us on social media, share your favorite episodes with your friends, and let's keep this awesome community growing. Are you the last one down the mountain and proud of it? The Slow Skiers Club collection in the SKIMOMS shop is made just for you. Whether you're soaking in the views, taking it at your own pace, or just keeping it real on the slopes, our cozy sweatshirts, mugs, and stickers celebrate skiing on your own terms. Because skiing isn't a race, it's a joy. Head to theskimoms.co and check out the Slow Skier collection in our shop. Ski slow, smile big.